Good evening, I'm Sergeant Hungerford with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Traffic Homicide Unit. This briefing is in reference to a traffic crash that occurred this evening about 5:46 p.m. in the 5700 block of Vernon Road, where sadly a pedestrian was struck while in the roadway. The vehicle that struck him fled the scene without calling for help, without rendering aid, and did not report the accident to the police. As a result, Jacksonville Fire Rescue responded and transported the individual to a local hospital where sadly he was pronounced deceased shortly after arrival. This is the 5th traffic fatality in Duval County this year, and the 5700 block of Vernon Road is still closed. It should be opened up in another 15 minutes. Right now we're looking for a Dodge vehicle. We're not certain if it's an SUV or a car at this point, but we do have an emblem from a Dodge product. And we're asking if anybody has information with respect to what vehicle or who was driving that vehicle that struck the individual this afternoon, 5700 block of Vernon Road, about 5:45 p.m. on January 10th, today, Saturday. If you would please contact us at 630-0500, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, or you can submit an email crime tip to JSO crime tips at jacksheriff.org, or you can go to our website and there's a section where you can submit crime tips as well, or you can contact Crime Stoppers at 1-866-845-TIPS, and with Crime Stoppers you can remain anonymous and you may be eligible for a cash reward. The gentleman in this particular case, the decedent, is a elderly black male. And with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
I noticed there are sidewalks up there where it happened. Is there any reason why he was in the middle of the road as opposed to being on the sidewalks?
We don't have an explanation for that right now, but there are sidewalks, and it would have been a better place to be. I'm not certain if he was going across the roadway or not, but we're still working on that.
And I'm assuming we don't know if this person lived in the neighborhood or not.
Right now, we do not, no. We're still working on making next of kin notifications.
I know it's still early on, but does it seem like speed might have been a factor?
Unknown.
Do we know the color of the car of the Dodge?
We do not. All we have is a Dodge emblem at this point. There is video surveillance nearby, and we're working on obtaining that and analyzing that, and we do have some other stuff at the scene that we're working on.
Did the vehicle stop at all during this? You say a video surveillance. Did it hit the subject? Did it stop at all, or did they just keep going?
We're still working on that. We're not certain just yet. But any updates that we have will come through the PIO or our StratCom, and they'll reach out.
JFRD responded?
They did, yeah. They transported him to a local hospital, and he was pronounced deceased shortly after arrival.
Do you know when JFRD responded? Like around the time that JFRD responded?
I would expect right after the traffic crash was called in.
Okay.
Yeah, they're rapid. JFRD is fantastic, and they do life-saving measures at the scene. They stabilize, and then they get him to the hospital as quickly as possible.
Even though it wasn't reported, there wasn't a big time gap between when it happened and...
Well, that's not entirely known either.
Okay.
That's a very good question. I'm sorry, I missed that.
No, that's all right.
The time of the crash was 1746. That's when we got it through dispatch.
Okay.
How long he was laying in the road, I don't know. We haven't figured that out yet. I'm assuming it was fairly quickly. A neighbor called it in, someone who lives nearby. So I think that they may not have actually seen the traffic crash. They called it in.
Okay.
So they just saw him in the road?
Yeah, they saw him in the road. But we may have a witness or two. So if the person is watching, we'd like to talk to you. Just come forward, do the right thing. It'll make it a whole lot simpler and easier if you'll come forward and talk to us. Accidents do happen. But if we have to do a great deal of follow-up work, it's going to change how things proceed as we move forward.
And with only being 10 days into 2026, and this is the 5th traffic fatality, what's your message to not only drivers, but to pedestrians walking across streets and down streets as well?
And this is the 3rd involving pedestrian. And the 5th overall, but you're right with the numbers. So pedestrians need to be careful. I mean, you just have to be very cognizant of crossing the roadway. It can be dangerous. So I would recommend crossing at a crosswalk. If it's a 4-lane roadway or something like that, go to an intersection where there's a traffic signal. It gives you the opportunity to have the right of way, and you will know that traffic is stopped because they will have a red light, and that's the safest place to traverse an intersection.